another little quick tips video on fussy cutting. I tend to use quite a lot of fussy cutting in my cards, either leaving a white border or cutting right up to the black line using a black pen to colour the core of the card. And I tend to plump towards fussy cutting because I'd rather spend my money on more stamps than buying coordinate dies for things. So I just go for the fussy cutting. I don't mind fussy cutting too much. It does hurt your hands a little bit, but I've got some tips for great scissors to use as well. So I thought I would go through the history of my fussy cutting as well. So these were my original pair of scissors that I did all my lovely fussy cutting with. They're Tonic, obviously, because Tonic, well, that's not in focus. Tonic scissors are the best. But you can see they've been through the wars quite a lot, and the whole handle came off this one. The blades are still absolutely perfect, it's just the handles. But yeah, so these get used less often now, but I did treat myself to a newer version of them too. And these ones have the non-stick blade as well, so they're another great pair of scissors for fussy cutting. But recently I have found, well, not really found, but yeah, the mini Snips from Holtz and Tonic. So they're the great quality of Tonic, but they've got the lovely squishy handles that Holtz does on his bigger pairs of scissors. So when you're fussy cutting, instead of getting a really bad diggy in line here on your thumb from the hard plastic of the scissors, instead, even if you're holding it tightly, these sort of mould around your thumb. You do still get a bit of a mark there if you're doing a lot of cutting, but it's a lot comfier. If I show, usually I'd get a really deep mark here, but when I use these scissors, this goes further down, and it sort of bends. If I put pressure on is how I would hold my scissors. It kind of bends to the shape of your hand. So this is my great recommendation for fussy cutting. And so the blades of these scissors, you can see the one that says Tonic on it has got serration on it, but the other blade hasn't. So my other top tip is when you're cutting with these, I don't like the little serrated edge. The serration really helps you get through thicker card and makes the fussy cutting much easier, but I don't like the look of the serrated edge. So when I'm holding my scissors, I always make sure the Tonic logo on the scissors is facing away from me. So my fingers are this side and the Tonic logo is this side. And that way you always get the flat cutting. I'll show you what I mean on a piece of scrap card. I mean, it's probably not that visible to many people, but it's visible to me. So look, I've cut like this. The Tonic logo is this side, and you can see this cut line is perfect and straight as I like. But if you look on the other cut line, you can see these tiny little serrations. I mean, it's not really that noticeable, but I just like to make sure I hold my scissors that way around so I don't get the little serration. You can see the difference there. It is really minute, but I just thought I'd share that top tip of how to avoid getting the serrations around your images. Okay, so then these are some images I've just coloured for a card that I'm halfway through making for CRaFTi PoTeNTiAl, so I'll probably link the video below. Firstly, I like to trim out my images, and these ones I'm going to leave a white outline because these branches would be really fiddly to cut right up to the black line, so because of that I'm then going to have to leave a white border around all of the images, otherwise it would look funny. So you want to use a smooth motion, try and hold this hand still and twiddle the card with your other hand, and then just keep going around the shape. Now I like to go in a smooth motion like that, and then we'll do the other side, and instead of going in and out to try and cut those pieces where the leaf goes in as we're going round, I'll do that afterwards. So now I'll come back in and curve that round and curve that bit round too, so we get this. I think I just find it easier to do it this way, and I find I bend my image less if I'm trying to manoeuvre the scissors around that corner that I just cut. While I've still got the rest of the card intact, I find I'm always bending my image. We just carry on to the rest of the leaf, and I try to keep an equal white border around the edge, but you know, it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect, because a lot of the time you're overlapping images and covering parts of it up anyway, so you can't really tell. There we go. You get a really lovely clean image using these scissors, and that serration really does help, especially as I always stamp on 300 GSM card, and if you're working on watercolour card as well and wanting to cut out your elements, having that serration really does make a big difference. Your hand hurts less, and you could cut through the paper so much easier, or the card so much easier. Like, so easy just to like wiggle the scissors around everything. I mean, you can do it with these too, but it just feels like you're getting through the paper or the card much easier with the serrated ones. So there's my little top tips on fussy cutting and the scissors I like to use, and sort of how I do my fussy cutting, because I get a lot of comments of people saying that they admire how much I fussy cut and everything. So I thought I'd do a little top tips video, and I will probably show a finished picture with some close-ups of the fussy cutting on this final card once I finished it. So thank you for watching, bye!